Welcome back, everyone. Today is not a happy podcast. It is an important one, however. On Sunday afternoon, Michigan was playing Michigan State in a game that literally meant nothing for Michigan in terms of anything. They had already locked up the Big Ten title, regular season title, and they're pretty much a solidified one seed. But of course, the worst case situation played out. Eli Brooks drove into the lane, hit a floater with about 15 minutes left in the first half, and he rolled up his ankle on Marcus Bingham, Michigan State's forward, and he immediately grabbed his leg in pain. As soon as I saw it, I was just really devastated for him, for Michigan, because it looked like an injury that could possibly take him out for the rest of the season. There was a noticeable roll of his ankle, and you don't really know how the leg will react in that sort of situation. But he put a boot on. He watched the rest of the game from the bench with the boot on. He didn't practice on Tuesday, and he still has the boot on, as of what I've read today. So it's tough. Eli Brooks is such an important player to this Michigan team. Phil Martelli, Michigan's beloved assistant coach, called him the MVP of the team. And I honestly agree with Phil here, with Coach Martelli here. Eli Brooks brings a balance that only a few players in the Big Ten can bring to a team without kind of showing off. He's just a steady presence. Defensively, he's the best on-ball defender on Michigan. I don't think anyone would disagree with me on that regard. Offensively, he takes pressure off Mike Smith. He can handle the rock, gives Mike some minutes of rest, some spot minutes of rest. He can create his own offense. He can create for others. He's probably the best or second best decision maker on this basketball team. Just a steady presence all around. And when Michigan hasn't had Eli, it's been really rough. Without Eli Brooks, Michigan is 0-2 this season. With him, 19-1. Just let that sink in. I'm sure if you're a diehard Michigan fan, you know that already. But there's something missing when Eli Brooks isn't playing. Offensively, absolutely, and also defensively. There's no way to replace a guy like that. And with Eli Brooks out, Shawnee Brown fills the shooting guard position, which is absolutely fine in my book. Shawnee Brown is a more than capable shooting guard on this team. He would start on almost every other Big Ten team, I'd say. And he's not the problem here. The problem with the rotation is it just gets so thin without Eli Brooks playing, taking up 30, 35 minutes a game of steady play. Without Eli Brooks, Michigan relies on Zeb Jackson to fill 10 to 15 minutes a game. It'll probably rely on freshman Terrence Williams, who's not a guard, but who will probably slide in to play some minutes because other forwards will need some rest without Eli Brooks there. And Michigan's team is not as good, obviously. That's a huge loss when you're losing a senior, when you're losing a team captain. Not just his play, but his off-court leadership. I guess that'll still be there, but his on-court leadership, it's instrumental to this team's success. Eli Brooks is instrumental to this team's success. So the status of him, if you try to read into it too much, I mean, online there's a lot of news going around that it's so uncertain. Michigan's doing a good job of kind of keeping everyone in the dark. But I noticed in Hunter Dickinson's press conference on Wednesday afternoon, he said that the team will be missing Eli. They will be missing him. He said it kind of casually. He basically made it sound like Michigan will miss him in the future. That's how I heard it. He said something along those lines, and it didn't sound good. I'll say that. It did not sound good. It made it sound like Eli Brooks is not going to be returning for the foreseeable future. So that's probably my best guess at the moment, what Hunter Dickinson said. Eli is not going to return for the Big Ten tournament, and there's not any reason to rush him back for the Big Ten tournament other than to maybe get him some game reps because now he'll be taking a significant chunk of time off. But my main hope is that he's ready for the NCAA tournament because without Eli Brooks, Michigan's no better than a Sweet 16 team. With the depth of college basketball this season, Michigan is no better than a Sweet 16 team without Eli Brooks. With him, I think they're a national title contender because, as I said before, as Phil Martelli said, He is the MVP of the team in terms of bringing a balance, bringing a steadiness, bringing an overall feel to a team that lacks cohesiveness when he's off the floor, and especially when he misses games, as you've seen with the blowout loss to Minnesota and that game this last weekend against Michigan State. It's going to be tough without him. There's no doubt about it. But Michigan's going to got to figure it out, and we'll see how they play in the Big Ten tournament. They will be playing Maryland tomorrow, a team they've beaten twice this season by 35 points combined. Obviously, without Eli Brooks, it'll be a great kind of checking point to see how Michigan can play without him, because I doubt he's playing tomorrow. Michigan hasn't ruled anything out or in. His status is still completely uncertain. But based off of Hunter Dickinson's comments, based off Phil Martelli's comments, I'd be surprised if Eli Brooks takes the floor in the Big Ten tournament. And yes, the season is coming down to this. It's so unfortunate that he's not going to be playing, or at least it seems like he's not going to be playing. I'll pray that he gets healthy, but I don't want him to get injured any more than he already is, so there's no reason to rush him back if he's unhealthy. It's just basketball after all. But that's going to be the video. I will say it one more time. Eli Brooks, his future will dictate Michigan's future success. If he's able to come back and he's able to play 100% or even 90%, Michigan will have a great chance at winning the national title. But if he isn't, I will pencil Michigan in as a Sweet 16 loser on my bracket, I hate to say. Thanks everyone for watching, and it's a somber video, but it's an important one. We have to keep an eye on this situation because it's the most important thing right now with Michigan basketball. Peace.